What is up, everybody? So, time to profile one of my most popular decks ever I've invented, and that's Domain. Well, I guess I had this right here. That is Domain Kaiju Monarch. Now, for you OG fans of mine, back when the Kaijus were still kind of new to Yu-Gi-Oh, I took it upon myself, made a video displaying the synergy and consistency with Kaijus and Monarchs. Now, a lot of you guys may be asking yourself, what kind of synergy do Kaijus and Monarchs have, you may ask? Well, Kaijus, of course, are anti-meta-ish in nature. They're able to tribute over an opponent's monster, getting rid of any boss monster the opponent may have. And then when you play a card that just, well, I guess not just came off the ban list at 3, but back in January came off the ban list at 3, which is Interrupt the Kaiju Slumber, that board wipes and gets you field presence. If you go second, you can tribute over your Kaiju and make the Monarch and start going off from there. That was my theory with the deck. I saw a little bit of success with it on the local level. Never really got a chance to take it to regionals because I was playing Heroes at the time as well. But for the success I did have this deck, it was fun. A lot of you guys enjoyed it. So with that being said, I decided to bring this deck back. So with all that being said, let's get into the profile. Without further ado, let's begin. And if you guys are new here, subscribe for more. All right, we're gonna start with the monster lineup because that's the most important part of the deck. Off back, we got 1, 2, 3 Kaijus. I was gonna run 4 Kaijus in the beginning of the deck. I decided just to run 3. One of the dark one. I'm not running the Kaiju field spell, so you don't really need to run them for their effects. You really just run them for Interrupt the Kaiju Slumber. He has 2800 attack. He has 3000 attack, and he has, Gamma still has 2200 attack. Really good for the meta, especially because decks like Thunder Dragons make cards that allow you not to search. Let's see, Sky Striker is still a thing. So yeah, Kaiju, you just run 3. 1 Ether because it's at 1. Pretty obvious. Ether is one of the best Monarchs in the deck, and also with Monarch Stormforth being back at 3, you can always catch your opponent slipping now again, like you used to do back in the day, where you can activate Monarch Stormforth on your opponent's turn and then tribute off your opponent's monsters to bring them out, and then use his effective dump and then gain field presence. So you run him at 1, of course, because he's a staple in the deck. 1, 2, 3 Erebus. With Ether being at 1, you need to run Erebus at 3. Reason being, he's the creme de la creme to Monarchs. The whole point of this deck is to dump your Monarch spell and traps to the graveyard to gain advantage. If you cannot do that, 9 times out of 10, unless you draw one of your other tribute monsters like your Majesty's Fiend or a Vanity's Fiend, you're going to be in a pretty sticky situation. You don't want that to happen, so you want to run Erebus at 3. His ability to eat a card out of your opponent's hand is good. But other than that, you mainly run him at 3 because for opening him first, you got to set up your graveyard. So him at 3 is very important. 1 Vanity's Fiend, 1 Majesty's Fiend. Now, a lot of you OG fans of mine know I used to run 2 Majesty's Fiend for consistency because he does trigger off the Monarch's spell and traps. However, I know a lot of people are going to be complaining, saying, Chris, why aren't you running Vanity's Fiend? And honestly, I can understand why. Vanity's Fiend, he can win games by himself against a multitude of decks, and especially in today's meta, like Sky Strikers, like Thunder Dragons. Stopping that ability to special summon is huge. So I think running him at 1 is very imperative. I mean, Majesty's Fiend is good too, negating monster effects, activated effects. That's good as well, but stopping that summon is very important. So there's a reason why things like Vanity's Emptiness is banned. So 1 and 1 I think is a good ratio. Although he cannot trigger the Monarch spell and traps and you can't search him in the deck, if you open him up, he's in a good position. I know some players might say, well, scrap the Majesty's Fiend and run 2, but I still personally like Majesty's Fiend because he's searchable in the deck. 1 Karaz. I had to make room. I didn't want this deck to go past 42 cards. This is a 42 card main deck. Karaz is good because you can combo him with Ether. And yeah, when you do the combo, he's Interruption. That's really the only reason you run him. And you do also run him for the times that you may have to draw cards with him, which is rare, but sometimes it does happen. So you run him at 1. In my older builds, I did run 2 for consistency, especially when we had things like Garage, that Black Winged, allowing you to make tokens. But since that card's banned, there's no really reason you should run him at more than 1. You really don't need 1. 1 Mithra, he's good to allow you to get a double summon off. 1 of the idols, actually 2 idols. and 3 ideas. Ideas and idea, obviously common sense staple. For you old school players, these are like your Treeborn. These are your Treeborn frogs of the deck. It's actually better than Treeborn frog because he can search out either idea. He can search out either Eidos and Mithra. Idea, if you guys do not know, when you normal summon him, it allows you to special summon a Eidos from the deck. When Eidos is summoned, he gives you another normal summon for the turn. Effectively going normal summon him, special summon him, effect triggers, allowing you to do a tribute summon for the turn, because almost every card in the deck is for a tribute summon. Now the thing about that is, if you summon out Mithra, he's pretty much kind of like the same thing. The only difference is Mithra, when I believe you tribute him, he give your opponent a token. I'll go ahead and read his effect for you guys that did not know what he does. Sorry for the lighting as well. Lighting is kind of bad right now. Mithra pretty much reads, if the card is in your hand, you can activate this card. You cannot special summon monsters when you activate the rest of this turn. Also, special summon this card, and if you do, special summon 1 Vassal Thunder type token level 1 to your opponent's side of the field in defense mode. If he's tributed for a tribute summon, you can activate this effect. You can tribute 1 monster during your main phase in addition to the normal summon you can. So that's pretty solid. I think he's good as a one-of. Not only because he's searchable with idea, but you know, he's solid. Get that additional summon. You can do plays of double Erebus with him. Alright guys, and then to round off the monster lineup, 3 Ash Blossom and Joy Spring. You guys know how I feel about Ash Blossom. I think Ash Blossom is a staple in every deck at 3. No exceptions. I mean, I know some decks like Thunder Dragons don't run hand traps because they're meant to just go off and win. But having a little bit of lube, a little bit of protection, can go a long way, especially in rogue decks. Rogue decks need as much protection as possible. And even though Ash Blossom and cards like Ash Blossom hurts rogue decks mainly, they also are rogue decks' best friend. Now we're gonna go to the spell and trap lineup. Very heavy spell and trap lineup. We're gonna do 3 Domain of the True Monarchs. This is the stopping your opponent from the extra deck build. This is the also budget friendly build. There are Monarch variants that do run an extra deck, but I feel like those variants are already super inconsistent, and I feel like honestly this is the most simplest, easiest pick up and play build. This is probably one of the best decks to play as a beginner Yu-Gi-Oh player in today's day and age, and or as a returning player who doesn't want to learn a lot of mechanics. 1 Pantheism to draw, best card in the deck, no exceptions. 3 Call by the Graves. You need protection once again. It's very imperative that you get your normal summons off in this deck, and you do not want your normal summons negated with a hand trap. I mean, some people aren't really running hand traps, but for the players who are, you want to have some protection for it. 2 Return of the Monarchs. Return of the Monarch is really good because it allows you to search out any monarch in your deck. When you tribute summon, it can be bricky at times, but for the times that it is not bricky, it's really good and very imperative. Now, the thing that makes the deck pretty playable and the purpose of the deck is 3 Interrupted Kaiju Slumbers. Now, Interrupted Kaiju Slumber is a very powerful card and very good in this deck because it allows you to blow up the board, get Kaijus on the board, and you contribute your Kaiju for the Monarch, which is the whole purpose of me building this deck back in the day. And it saw some pretty decent success online and on the local level. Sadly, never got a chance to take it to a regional level. 1 for 1 Foolish Burial. 3 Tenacity of the Monarchs. 3 Tenacity of the Monarchs. Obviously, for consistency purposes, you got to run Tenacity. If you open it up with one of your Monarchs in your hand, it allows you to search. It's mainly for consistency. You run 3. Now, one of the best cards in the deck got limited to 1 at one point, the Monarch Stormforce. Now, you guys already know, one of the easier, the best cards in the deck. Allowing you to distribute some of your opponent's monsters is very important. It's the reason why you can get away with just running nothing but a lot of heavy monsters. Now, while this deck is very powerful in what it does, it can brick. Once again, I have to repeat, the deck is a brick house, to say the least. No pun intended. But for the games you draw good, it's a good chance you're gonna win, because once you start establishing a powerful board that allows you to just negate your opponent's extra deck, you win, and that's pretty much it. You win. And I'm gonna finish off the main deck with 2 Twin Twisters and 2 the Prime Monarch. Twin Twister, you need 2 to 3 against Mystic Mind Burn. Now, a lot of players that play Mystic Mind Burn have been known to brick with the deck. If they don't open up a way to make Mystic Mind, they pretty much gonna get OT cut in the following turn. But for the times they cannot do that, you want to have the Twin Twister in there for that. And Prime Monarch also allows you to make a solid board. Now, I know a lot of you guys are going to be saying, Chris, why don't you run the Monarch's Erupt? I believe that's a card. That's a Monarch card. Don't quote me on that, but the Monarch's Erupt is the card that I'm thinking about. It's the one that says when you flip it up on the board, while you have a tribute summon monster, it pretty much skill drains the field. That is a solid card to run. Really great card to run. I just don't own one. If you do own one, you can easily run it in here. Now that thinking about it, you probably should run that card in the main deck. You can easily take out a Stormforce for it, but honestly speaking, in this build, you don't need it because this build is more focused on trying to get those quick OTK plays in versus trying to just negate the board. But obviously, if you have one and if you do own them, you can run it and manipulate the ratios to your own advantage. If the card I'm talking about is not called a Monarch's Erupt, I'll have a correct picture on the screen, of course. So, like I like to do with all my deck profiles, yeah, tell me what you guys think in the comment section down below. If this video gets 100 likes, I'm gonna, by the end of the weekend, I'll put out my combo video for this deck by Sunday. So if this video gets 100 likes by the end of today, I'll post my combo video by sometime tomorrow. If I can't get 100 likes by the end of today, I'll post my combo video sometime throughout the week. Once again, post your thoughts and opinions about this video in the comment section down below. If you're new here, subscribe for more. And yeah, man, this is InnovationYGO, and I'm signing out. See you guys in the next video. Peace. Also, one more thing, post in the comment section down below deck profiles you guys want to see in the future. I'm going to turn this channel more into a deck profile focused channel. I'm going to try to bring you guys all the weird, quirky deck profiles, not so much meta stuff, but stuff that is roguish, and put my little touches on it. So yeah, tell me what you guys think about that, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.